Alright, hello everyone. We're walking around the main business district in St. Ignace today, just checking out the local stores and locations here. And it's really quite a lovely little tourist town here on the northern edge of Lake Huron. Just off the coast over there's Mackinac Island. And we're just going to walk on down. Former movie theater here has been converted into a souvenir shop as well. You can tell the entryway here, and I think when I first started coming up north back in the early 70s, this was still a movie theater actually, called St. Anthony's Rock, and it's all fenced in to keep people from climbing on it, partly because it's dangerous and partly because they want to preserve it. It's made of soft limestone aggregate, I believe, that compacted together but still quite soft and fragile. A lot of these rock formations and outcroppings, once you cross over the Mackinac Bridge into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, you see quite a few of these around. It'd be kind of cool if we had the drone. We could go up on top of it and look and see if there's anything interesting up on top of it, which there probably isn't, but it'd still be kind of cool to see. Anthony's Rock is one of several sea stacks, they're called, in the strait areas, made of Mackinac breccia, a type of stone. When the roofs of deep caves collapsed into stacks of fragmented rock, calcium carbonate and groundwater cemented the stacks of limestone. That's what I sort of thought. And dolomite and chert into a much harder foundation than the surrounding limestone. So basically it's concretized or calcified limestone. It's pretty cool, really cool. I've always found this rock to be really fascinating and just a cool natural feature here overlooking the downtown area. Here's something interesting. I think I mentioned it. Every Tuesday night they have a walking tour downtown here, but they also have a self-guided walking tour you can do anytime you want. And this is stop number 24, and if you look below that, it's an audio tour. They give you a phone number to dial, and then you punch in what stop number you're at, and it tells you the history of this location. That is fascinating. But I'm gonna have to try it. We're gonna do it right now. Alright, well, I just listened to the walking tour automated phone message here. It was quite detailed and very fascinating. I love these little historic stop things they have around town. And if you punch it in, it was actually all about St. Anthony's Rock, which I just showed you earlier. And it gives even more detailed information about the history of it. It seems at one point in time here, there was a stairway framework built up the back side of it, and they constructed a bandstand up on top and actually had concerts and musicians performing from the top of the rock up there, which sounds kind of scary but really cool. And it mentioned several other rocks in the area, along with the historical and possible spiritual significance that Native Americans and others place on the rocks. Another one here in town is identified as Ghost Rock, and it mentions that a large park just outside town is built almost entirely on top of one of those kind of formations as well. Another thing I've noticed here in St. Ignace is the trolley service. They have the motorized trucks, really buses that look like trolley cars, that drive back and forth and around. Looks like a nice touristy kind of attraction that's going to really make people more comfortable in getting around and shopping here in the area. And all the restaurants down around here are rated fairly well. I love the architecture of this old hotel here. There's a different style of brick about 3/4 of the way up. I've got the brick here, then the second floor, and just about where the third floor starts, it's a totally different kind of brick up there. I don't know if that indicates that perhaps there was a fire up there at one time and they had to change it or repair it, or possibly they added on to it at one point. There's also an interesting ghost sign here just peeking through behind the main sign. Look at that. These little letters still there. It says something about rooms. Of course it's rooms because it's a hotel. It's called the Boardwalk Inn now, bed and breakfast. Part of the historic St. Ignace walking tour. Here's a walking tour site. We're going to have a quick look here. 1926 Wings Garage here. Red Crown gasoline and Polarine motor oil. You can see the old cars pictured here inside from the 1920s, and the gas pumps the visible gas pumps out front. And that's what this building right here was. And let's see. The first automotive garage in St. Ignace, founded in 1908. Modern garage and sales room, was the leading establishment of its kind in the whole county. Sold Cadillacs and Buicks in the area, and as well as Willys Overland. The building currently houses the Fort DeBoud Museum Complex and the Trails Council. If you were to come here on a Tuesday evening during the summer, they have free walking tours of historical sites here around the town. And I would love to have gotten here a day or two earlier so we could have did that. Oh, here we can actually see into the museum here through this window. I'm afraid we're not going to be able to see very much. So, open 10 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. So, well, chances are we may come back here before we leave town. A small Chinese restaurant here in town had a fire a couple years ago and never reopened. It's kind of sad because it was very mid-century inside, and it was like stepping into the Christmas Story movie. It just reminded me so much of that. We kind of miss this place. The food was hit or miss, but it was quite an experience to go in here.